described. Because at that point, why don't they just stop it? Here's 8 pages about their latest project, which we hate. There's absolutely nothing requiring you to write about these two. All right? Literally nothing. So why do they? Answer, because they are selling more and more papers by making you hate them. To which the question then becomes, why do you let them do that? I don't hate them because of the newspapers. I don't even read a newspaper. Yeah, come on. What is your knowledge of their behaviour based on? How do you know what goes on behind closed doors? Where is that information coming from? Oh, I see. You've got a bug, have you? In their Californian sitting room. You've got a top snout, have you? A top source. Their chauffeur rings you up every Tuesday evening and gives you chapter and verse on what it is they've been up to lately. How do you know? Answer, because people who are paid to report on the royal family have put that information, whether it's true or not, into the public sphere. So you rely entirely upon the people who rely entirely upon the palace for their livelihoods. A royal correspondent who is not in favour is not going to be a royal correspondent for very long. Now, I personally don't mind that system in the sense that it is symbiotic. It serves the purposes of both institutions, and they are neither institutions that I have a problem with in principle, either the royal family. Well, actually, probably slightly more of a problem with the royal family because it bakes deference into our system, and although the royal family, most of them are not problematic, it's a system that allows someone like Jacob Rees-Mogg to masquerade as superior to you, which is obviously absurd, but against the backdrop of a royal family, anybody who walks the walk and talks the talk, however confected it may be, can achieve deference. You can have people think, oh yes, he knows what he's talking about. He's got 8 plums in his mouth. Although we're probably going to run out of plums at some point in a not too distant future if the last hour was anything to go by. So why do they do it? Why do the newspapers that claim to hate them, and that do hate them, and claim to want them to shut up and go away, like Gavin Williamson told the Russians to do after the poisonings in Salisbury? Why do the newspapers that answer it sells papers? What sells papers? Hate sells papers. Who does the hating? The people that read the stories, whether they're getting them from the papers or not. It's all the same trough in which your little noses are immersed. So what's the pleasure? Where's the fun from? Why is it so easy to encourage people to hate these two? Answer, they make you feel really stupid. Whether you realise it or not. I heard some of Nick's callers today. Levels of anger.
Hi, I'm Helen. Welcome to our channel. If you're new here, we're so glad to have you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. I don't think people understand the extent of the British media's relentless onslaught against Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It's like they have a personal vendetta against them and they just won't let up. Ever since they started dating, the newspapers and TV have been full of nasty stories about them. It's been relentless, with headlines and stories that seem designed to tear them down. It's not just gossip, it's like a full-on attack, trying to make them look bad. The media seems to be on a mission to discredit them at every turn. James O'Brien, this radio guy, calls it bullying, plain and simple. He's been very vocal about how unfair and harmful this treatment is. He thinks they don't like Meghan because she's biracial and doesn't fit the usual royal mold. This bias is evident in the way they cover her compared to other royals. He points out how they have double standards. The media praises other royals for the same actions they criticize Harry and Meghan for. If other royals do something, it's great, but if Harry and Meghan do the same thing, suddenly it's a big problem. The hypocrisy is glaring. They also use sneaky language about Meghan that's kind of racist and sexist. This coded language is harmful and perpetuates negative stereotypes. This happens to lots of women of color in the public eye. They face disproportionate scrutiny and criticism compared to their white counterparts. O'Brien says this kind of talk is dangerous and can hurt people and society. The media's power to shape public perception should be used responsibly, not to bully and harm. Let us know in the comments what you think about this issue and which niche topics you'd like us to cover next. Public perception, and keep us in the dark. The hypocrisy is really obvious when you look at how they treat Prince Andrew. Harry and Meghan get in trouble for small things, but Andrew, who's friends with Jeffrey Epstein and was accused of some bad stuff, doesn't get the same treatment. O'Brien asks why nobody's yelling about Andrew. He says it's because Harry and Meghan left their royal jobs and that upset the people in charge. They're seen as a threat, so the media punishes them. Andrew, however, is still part of the royal gang, so he's protected. This shows how some media folks care more about power than telling the truth. O'Brien talking about how the media treats Harry and Meghan isn't just about them. It's a reflection of deeper issues that permeate our society. It's about bigger problems in our society, problems that affect everyone, not just celebrities. It shows how power can be abused, how those in positions of authority can manipulate narratives to serve their own interests. It highlights how racism and sexism still exist, deeply embedded in our institutions and everyday interactions. And it reveals how some reporters don't care about being honest, prioritizing sensationalism over truth. What he says is important because lots of people are tired of the bullying, the double standards, and the trickery. They want change. O'Brien reminds us that we don't have to put up with this. We have the power to demand better. We can demand better from the news, insisting on integrity and accountability. We can make them take responsibility for what they say and write, ensuring they adhere to ethical standards. What's happening to Harry and Meghan shows a much bigger problem, a systemic issue that needs addressing. It shows how power, prejudice, and bias can distort the truth, and how the pursuit of money can mess up the news. O'Brien's message is clear. We can't let this be normal. We must strive for a media landscape that values truth and fairness. It's time for the media to be held accountable, to ensure they serve the public good. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below.